everyone. It is a nasty, dreary day here at Millboro and Co. They're calling for storms through the deep south all morning and heading into North Carolina around the afternoon. So I hope everyone's staying safe out there. We're really just worried about the crops that we planted earlier in the year. You guys may have guessed it already based on the title of this video, but COVID has finally creeped its way into our home. Elizabeth tested positive late last week, and so we're just on quarantine. We're so tired of being stuck at home, but it's late winter. Spring starts in just 2 days, and we are excited to continue getting plants into the ground. Since it's such a nasty day, I thought I would take the chance to go down to the basement and start some seeds and take you guys along for the ride to show you how we start our transplants in the healthiest way possible. So come on, let's go to the basement. All right, welcome to the basement. I had the good idea to do this little Mr. Rogers neighborhood bit for you here where I took off my jacket and sang for you, but I'll spare you that part. But welcome to the basement. This is where we grow all of our seeds and transplants that don't get direct seeded out in the garden, especially this time of year. It's still winter, and so we have frost here in this part of North Carolina until late April. So this is a great place for us to start our plants in a nice warm place. It averages anywhere from 60 to 70 down here this time of year. We can control the humidity. We have a dehumidifier down here to suck out the humidity anytime it's too moist and we're risking a chance of fungus or any type of mold growth. We've got the lights set up, obviously, so that they get the light they need. They run about 16 hours a day. They're full spectrum bulbs, fluorescent bulbs. I really just added enough light until I could tell the plants had what they needed and they weren't stretching for more light. So most of you are familiar with plastic trays. This is what most plants are started in throughout the industry. The majority of growers like these. They're easy to fill with dirt, start your plants. The biggest issues that I run into with these things is when you go to plant the transplant, getting a plant out of one of these cells is the most annoying thing you'll ever do, just trying to get that out without hurting the roots in the plant itself. And so what we have replaced that with is soil blocks. This is a beautiful invention. We use these tools, we compress it down into the soil mix, and it creates these awesome blocks for us. The benefits of soil blocks over cell trays is that the roots have a lot more access to air. So the roots are much less likely to become root bound. Also, as I mentioned before, cell trays are awful to plant, and so with cell blocks, you literally can just grab a plant and plant it. I mean, I can literally just reach right in here, grab this guy of beets, and I could plant that right now. It's just easy to put right back, so it's much easier management, better airflow for the plants, and you can actually fit way more plants per tray in the same amount of space, because really, if you look at the bottom of these trays, look at all the space in there where you're not putting soil. So yeah, soil blocks give plants more access to soil, more access to the nutrients they need, and they're just gonna get a better start that way. All right, the first step to creating soil blocks, or even for your cell trays, is making sure that you have a great soil medium to start your seeds in. The most important thing for your soil is that it drains well, but also will hold form. So you may take some trial and error to find something that will hold shape without falling apart, but also allow enough drainage and airflow for your plants to get a good start. You want the consistency to be where you can easily form a shape and it stay there. And if you squeeze it, you get a little water coming out like a sponge. All right, we've got our mix looking good. So let's make some soil blocks for our lettuce starts.
Tell me everything, tell me everything, tell me everything. Gonna be alright. It'll be alright, it'll be alright, it'll be alright. It'll be alright.
All right, so now we're on to making our mini soil blocks, which we'll use to start our eggplant. We also use to start things like tomatoes and peppers. So the mini blocks are so small that they can't have bigger pieces of soil or wood in them. And so what we do is we take our normal soil, but we will sift that through this, and that will give us a finer medium that's perfect for making the small soil blocks. All right, there we go. All right, so to make our mini soil blocks, we've got our mini blocker here. It makes 20 mini blocks at one time. I think they're about 3/4 of an inch wide, so they're really small, but this is how we start all our tomatoes, eggplants, peppers.
It'll be alright, it'll be alright, it'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright, it'll be alright.
All right, we're good to plant some eggplants.
It'll be alright.
Usually I would use an entire tray if I were to start tomatoes like you see here, or peppers, as we've done before. And then once those eggplants, just like the tomatoes I just showed you, once they have grown for about 2 weeks to about the size you see here, we pot them up into these bigger blocks. These are the peppers that we did a few weeks ago, and yeah, you just take the small mini block like we did with the eggplants, and you put them into these, I believe they're 2.5-inch blocks, and they live the rest of their life happy there. As you can see, that's a lot of peppers. We've actually got 2 full racks of them, 8 trays. And so that's the reason we do the mini blocks, is we're just trying to save space for a few weeks while the seeds get started, and they don't need quite as much space for the roots. And so our eggplant's gonna live right here on the heat mat, right beside the tomatoes. We've got a cover to help keep some heat in, because all 3 of these plants, tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers, they all want to start out around 75 to 90 degrees soil temperature, so we'll keep that over it to keep things warm. Same with the tomatoes, and we'll monitor the temperature every now and then, keep them wet, and in just a few days we'll have eggplants and more tomatoes coming up. Just heard some thunder. Sounds like the storms are finally here. Checked out the radar, and looks like we're in a tornado watch right now, and above us it's a tornado warning, so let's see how it looks out here.
Trouble it comes and goes. Trouble it finds a way, and I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready.
Well, it looks like we dodged the huge storms, but as you can hear, it's starting to rain just a little bit. Well, okay, it's raining a lot, but I guess that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining me. I hope I taught you a little bit about starting seeds, and wow, it's really coming down. See you next time.